Alright guys, so welcome back to another video. So today I'm gonna discuss a little bit about the distances on the Mevo Plus. I've seen in my comments and a few of my subscribers have contacted me, and I also seen on some of the forums that there is an issue with some people saying that, you know, I hit my 7-iron or my 6-iron or my 8-iron longer than what it actually says on the Mevo Plus. So today I'm just going to go over a few things to show you what's happening, and hopefully that can help you. So stay tuned. Okay, so I'm not going to go over the setup because that's pretty standard. I mean, you just put your unit behind, you follow the instructions. I think most people are doing that right, and 100%, like 99% of the time, that's not going to be the issue. Whether you stay closer or longer, you know, you just have to tell the unit in the settings. And whether, you know, you have 7 feet or 10 feet of distance from the ball to the hitting area, that's going to be in the settings. You have to tell it. And even if you made a mistake there, it's not going to be, that's not the problem. So make sure that you have it just your right setup. And another thing, make sure that it's inclined correctly. So if you set it on the ground and if it's a little bit like this, make sure that it's level. But now with the new update, it's going to tell you, it's not going to let you hit balls because it's going to say that it's a little bit tilted to one side. One thing that I want to add is that a lot of people don't think of this, but when you get your Mevo Plus and you're hitting a net, it's not going to be the same. There is a psychological part to it because you're hitting a wall or you're hitting a net. So psychologically, you're not going to hit the same distances as you hit at the range. So my suggestion, number one suggestion, if you get the Mevo Plus, is first of all, go to the range. Okay, set it into indoor mode because it's going to calculate, you know, set it into what it is at your house. You know, maybe you have 10 feet, 8 feet or 7 feet. Make sure to select indoor even though you are at the range. Okay, and then set up the distance to the back similar to that what you're going to have at your house, and then start hitting shots. Okay, so then if you have a problem there, then there may be something. But if you don't have a problem there, if you see the right distances there, then there shouldn't be anything wrong with your unit. So make sure you do that. Go to the range, look at the ball flight, check it with your unit, check the distance as well, try to figure out if it's correct. Keep in mind that hitting range balls is going to be a little more difficult. The flight is not as a new ball. It's going to be a little lower. It may go less distance, so I would just try to keep newer range balls. So practice with try to use new range balls. So you have to make sure to save your session and look out for your launch angle, your ball speed, and your swing speed, and your smash factor as well. So 4 parameters that you need to keep in mind. So check those out and check the distance. You know, check if it's actually the 150 that you carry with your 8-iron or whatever it is. After you save your session with those 4 parameters, when you get home, do the same thing. Set it up, leave it like it is. You know, it should be the same. You know, your distance from ball to Mevo Plus and to net, and then do the same thing. Start hitting some shots, and then analyze the data. See if it's the same launch angle, the same swing speed, the same ball speed. It should be the same. I mean, it would not make any sense if it's not the same. And then go from there. You know, if your distance is lower because of that, then there is something wrong with your launch angle. It just doesn't make any sense. You know, a lot of people are complaining and saying that, you know, my 9-iron is only going 100 yards and I normally carry 130. So how come? You know, the only reason that it could be is because you're launching the ball really, really high. It could be because psychologically you are home, you're not at the range, so you're new to this simulation, and it may be that you don't feel like, you know, you feel like you're hitting a certain shot but you're not. So that's why you have to check those numbers: launch angle, swing speed, ball speed, and smash factor. So if you see your launch angle really, really high, then that's what it is. You're launching, when you go home, you're launching the ball really, really high, and that's why you're losing a lot of distance. If you see your swing speed that is very, very low, that means that when you're at home, you don't feel comfortable with a net and you're kind of like limiting your speed. So that's why they drop, and that's why they drop in distance. And another thing is the smash. Look at the smash too. If it's really, really low compared to that of your range session, that means that your alignment is somewhat wrong and you're not hitting flush shots. I think it also depends on every person, because there are some people who don't mind hitting the nets or hitting a wall. You're not gonna it's not gonna affect you at all. For me, I think it took like 3 or 4 months to get used to hitting. And a lot of times when I was hitting a net, I was thinking, man, if I break the net, it's gonna go to the neighbor. So you're gonna have that in the back of your mind. You're not gonna be relaxed when you're hitting shots. You're gonna be like limited. Your swing speed is gonna go low, and then you're gonna see the distance is gonna be lower. But it's not because you hit it less. It's just because you're doing something else. You're lowering your swing speed, or hitting it a little higher, or you're not making good contact. The same thing is with your driver. A lot of people say that, man, when I go to the range I hit 250, when I hit from the Mevo Plus it's only like 220. It's the same thing. Check those numbers, check your launch angle, check your ball speed, swing speed, and smash factor. Those four parameters, that's gonna tell you exactly. It's not gonna change. I mean, if they're the same, you're gonna have about the same distance. So check those parameters, and that's where you're gonna find your discrepancy. It's not the unit. A lot of people think like, oh, it's because in the unit it's not giving me the right distance. It's not. It has to be one of those four parameters. I mean, think about it. You're hitting a net or you're hitting a wall. For me, I started hitting better shots, or I was a little more confident when I put the wall in here, and I knew that the balls couldn't go through. So then I started hitting better. I was more confident to knowing that I'm not going to break the net. It's not going to go to the neighbor. I'm not going to hurt anybody, or I'm not going to shank it. If I shank it, it goes just right here. So a lot of times it's in your setup. It's not the unit. It's the setup that you have. Is how you're mentally hitting the shots. Are you thinking that you're going to hit it over there? Are you thinking that you're going to hit it maybe over your net? There's a lot of factors, and golf is very mental. So you have to be completely free your mind. Otherwise, it's not gonna be the same as going to the range or going to the course. And that's why you have to check those parameters and compare them at the range, and then go back home and compare it at home and see exactly where is the discrepancy. I have many videos on how to set up the unit, but again, that's not going to be the problem. It's very, very easy to set up the unit, your alignment, your distances, and that's not gonna, I mean, for me, I keep it about this far from the unit, and sometimes I hit it from closer, and I always get a reading. I mean, if I get very, very close, sometimes I don't get a reading when I'm really far away from the unit. But as far as the distance, it's always going to be that distance. So it's not the unit, and also you got to keep in mind that it has to be a straight ball flight. If you start hitting it way left, the unit is going to have more trouble reading it that way. So, and a lot of times with a unit, you have to hit it straight, because that's where it's going to read it the best. Straight is going to be very, very accurate. The moment you starting the ball to the right or left, it's going to be a little more of a calculation. So pay attention to that. All right, guys, so that was it for the video. So when you get your unit, make sure to, before you start thinking that there's something wrong with the unit, go to the range, set it up as you were indoors, even though you're at the range, it's outdoors. But tell the unit that you're indoors, set the right measurements just like you're at home, and then test it out there. If there's a problem with distance there, then I would be worried. But if the distance is like you see it, then there is no problem. It's just in your mind, it's in your setup at home. So make sure to do that, guys. Like I say, I never had any experience where there was actually something wrong with the unit. I think most of the time it's just the golfer. A lot of times, we think that that you're not going to be affected by hitting a net, but it does take time. In my opinion, I think it takes at least 2-3 months. It's a new environment. It's sim golf, and you have to get used to that. Hitting in a confined area is different like hitting it outdoors. Then eventually, for me, now I know exactly my distances now. I've been having the Mevo Plus for about almost 3 years now. I know that when I hit it, even to this day, like my 9-iron in simulation golf is like 135, but when I go to the course, I know that's going to be 140. So then I have to make that 5-yard adjustment. But the reason is because I'm kind of limiting my swing here, but because it's mental. It's not because I'm not getting the right distances. It's just because I know that when I'm at home, I'm gonna hit it just slightly less. And when I'm out in the range, out in the open or out in the course, it's gonna go 5 yards farther. So it's things that you have to know, and things that I guess it takes time to it. So don't get frustrated, guys. If you have the Mevo Plus, there's a great customer service either way. If you want to ask them as well, if you follow this procedure right here, I think you can identify those 4 parameters, and then you're gonna find out what's wrong, what you're doing exactly at home. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Until next time.